Hey guys, Emmanuel here, and before I jump into this video, I just want to ask you guys to give me the HBO special, and that is the Help a Brother Out by hitting the subscribe button and leaving a like underneath this video. It helps out a lot. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to do that. Alright guys, Kyrie Irving is back at it again, and by that I mean Kyrie Irving is back to being a nuisance for his team. If you aren't privy to what I'm talking about, let me fill you in here. Earlier this week, Kyrie Irving tweeted a link to a documentary on Amazon Prime, and that documentary, many have said that it is derived from a book that is very anti-Semitic, and within that book has some off-the-wall crazy things like denying the Holocaust was real, that the Holocaust was a hoax, black people are the real Hebrews and real Israelites and not whites. The documentary is widely deemed as anti-Semitic. I'll be honest, I've never watched it. I don't plan on going to watch it, but from what I've gathered from the secondhand witnesses, people who have seen the documentary and talk about it, they say it's pretty damning. It is not something for the faint of heart. Regardless, it's not the contents that I'm worried about. Although, if there is a documentary in which 99% of what's in the documentary is true, and in the documentary it happens to deny the Holocaust or say that it was a hoax, that whole documentary now becomes completely invalid. Everything that was true in that documentary is undermined by the fact that that documentary denies reality. Why? Because it is one thing to say off the wall kind of conspiracy theorist, whatever thing you want to say, right? It's another to completely deny the death of 6 million people. People died in the Holocaust. Like, I know, duh, of course they did, but no, I want people to realize that. Like, people died in the Holocaust. I live in North America. There are people here who have grandparents who flew over across the sea to go fight and never came back. I don't know if Kyrie understands the gravity of that. Yeah, I didn't want to focus on the contents of the documentary. I wanted to focus on this whole week between Kyrie Irving and the media and how it's gone down. One of my biggest pet peeves, one of the biggest issues I have with this whole thing is the fact that it's Kyrie Irving again. Why did it have to be Kyrie Irving? It's always Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's always being a nuisance for his team. Kyrie has a knack for being in the spotlight, for being talked about for all of the wrong reasons. It seems like nowadays, every time I hear about Kyrie Irving, it's not, oh, Kyrie Irving dropped 55 points and it's Kyrie Irving left and the team doesn't know where he is and the coaches are trying to find him. It's not, oh, Kyrie Irving broke this guy's ankle and he knocked down a three. It's Kyrie Irving left and he's partying with his sister in the middle of a pandemic. It's not, oh, Kyrie Irving hit a buzzer beater winner. It's Kyrie Irving undermined his head coach by saying his team doesn't need a coach. It's always for the wrong reasons. And although sometimes I do agree with some of the stuff that Kyrie Irving is standing up for example, the vaccines, I think, yes, a person should have the choice for whatever goes into their body. I hate the fact that it was Kyrie Irving. I would have much preferred it was someone else who's prominent in the NBA stand up. I just hate that it's always Kyrie Irving. Why? Because it always is a distraction for his team. This debacle with the anti-Semitism, I think this is one of those things. And what I find interesting about it is this. What Kyrie Irving is subscribing to is a documentary that suggests that black people are the real Hebrews and real Israelites. How is Kyrie Irving going to subscribe to that when last year, not too long ago, Kyrie Irving converted to Islam? Do you guys remember Kyrie Irving and fasting for Ramadan? Kyrie, how do you square that circle? He's a walking contradiction. How do you square that circle? Kyrie Irving just happens to be in the news about anti-Semitism right around when Kanye West is in the news about anti-Semitism. I asked the question, is Kyrie doing this for attention? Because Kyrie says a bunch of off-the-wall stuff. Kyrie's into conspiracy theorists. Kyrie, is this a religion thing? Are you a Hebrew? Are you Islamic? Do you believe in spirituality, but it's not religious? He's got the chakra, the spiritual, other realm type of spirituality that's not religious. When I see all those contradictions and the fact that it's around the same time as Kanye West is in the news for anti-Semitism, is that for attention? Does Kyrie Irving just want to be in a mix? Does Kyrie Irving just want to say, oh, look at me, I'm so woke, I know where, black people originated from? Or whatever concoction that Kyrie Irving has in his head. I don't know. Kyrie's always maybe going to be a distraction for his teams, regardless of what it is. Because I don't know what this is about, right? When Kanye West is in the news about it, that you're in the news about it. And it's so fitting that it's Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. Why? Because those two men are a mirror reflection of each other. They're the same person. Kyrie Irving is Kanye West with the layup package. Kanye West is always in the news about controversial subjects, trying the most outlandish stuff. And a lot of people give Kanye West leeway because he is mentally ill. He is diagnosed, like professionally diagnosed as being bipolar. That's not the case for Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's always in the news for some crazy stuff. It's just like, oh, come on, Kyrie, right? I want to hear about you doing some crazy stuff on the basketball court. Nowadays, I hear more about Kyrie Irving off the court than on the court. Anyway, a lot of people didn't like the fact that Kyrie was promoting this sort of stuff, right? Because the Brooklyn Nets have season ticket holders that are Jewish. They don't like this, right? And when asked about it multiple times, instead of just being clear about what's going on, Kyrie Irving decided to pick a fight with the reporters. Something that he does consistently. I remember one time last year, Kyrie called reporters pawns. He called them pawns. That's what he called them. He looks down on reporters, and this manifested again when he went back and forth with the reporter, over talking to the reporter, kind of just condescending to him. It caused controversy until finally Kyrie Irving was given an opportunity to apologize, and he refused. And the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, Tsai, came out and he condemned Kyrie Irving for, promoting this sort of stuff. And when Kyrie refused to apologize for the final time, that's when the Brooklyn Nets said, all right, enough is enough. And the Nets decided to suspend Kyrie Irving 5 games without pay. Now, those 5 games, every one of those 5 games that he misses costs him around $250,000. That is a lot of money. That is $1.2 million in total for 5 games. Now, as we all know, money talks. And when the money got taken away from Kyrie Irving got to talking. Immediately when he got suspended, Kyrie Irving came out and he started apologizing. He said that there was some stuff in the documentary that he believed, but obviously there was some anti-Semitic in the documentary and he doesn't condone any of that, and he shouldn't have said it, and he realizes the negative impact that it had on the Jewish community. And this goes back to what I said earlier on. It doesn't matter that there's some stuff that you believe in that documentary. You shouldn't have promoted it in the first place. Why? Because any form of media, whether a book, a movie, or documentary that denies the Holocaust is automatically wrong. Automatically. Kyrie disavowed the documentary, said it doesn't reflect his views. That's irrelevant. He also announced that he donated to the ADL. The ADL is the Anti-Defamation League. It's a Jewish organization that kind of deals with these kind of things, anti-defamation, things that kind of, paint the Jewish community in a negative light. And the Brooklyn Nets, surprisingly enough, also donated money. They donated $500,000 each into this organization. Now, surprisingly, the organization kind of completely refused Kyrie Irving because they said, we just don't even want to deal with you. That just goes to show you how out of hand this whole thing got. And furthermore, that is a problem that I have with this whole debacle. Why? Because it all just seemed like it was for attention. It all seemed like it was for nothing. As soon as the money got taken away, Kyrie Irving switched completely. At least you can give Kanye West some dignity, some balls. He didn't switch up or change his answers about the Jewish community, even though there was some stuff I disagree with Kanye West about. He didn't switch up, right? At least he was willing to stand by what he said, even when the money got taken away. But Kyrie didn't. And it makes me view this whole fiasco as one giant week of distraction for the Brooklyn Nets. Right at a time when the Brooklyn Nets cannot afford to have distractions. The Brooklyn Nets have controversies of their own, right? The Brooklyn Nets, as I speak right now, are 2-6. They are one of the worst teams in the entire league, point blank period. They also have a coaching controversy going on. They just fired Steve Nash and they hired Ime Udoka, a figure who is already controversial because just in September he got suspended for misconduct within the Boston Celtics organization, and people are questioning whether he should be hired or not. So Sean Marks, Tsai, they have a lot on their plate. They're dealing with a lot, right? And here comes Kyrie Irving with his own fuel to the flame, doing the last thing that the Brooklyn Nets need, being a distraction. Right now, the Brooklyn Nets, what they need to focus on is improving, becoming better. Kyrie and Kevin Durant should be asking themselves, oh, we got a new coach coming in. How are we going to mesh? What's the vision? But Kyrie's focused on all the wrong things. And now Kyrie's going to miss 5 games. Those 5 games, how many of those 5 games do you think the Nets are going to lose? That's an indirect effect of a tweet from last week. It just boggles my mind. The Brooklyn Nets should be focusing on one thing and one thing only: winning, especially after the atrocious end to the season that they had last year, in which they got swept by the Boston Celtics. Something of which even Kyrie Irving admitted was super humbling for him and the team. Currently, Stephen A. Smith is reporting that the owner, Tsai, is completely done with Kyrie Irving, which is completely reasonable and fair. I mean, this guy's had to deal with so much regarding to Kyrie Irving, so much nonsense. He says that he's only dealing with him because of the contract. Like, he can't fire him, he can't drop him, he owes him money. But aside from that, he's just completely done with Kyrie Irving.
But I've been told Tsai is completely done with him. He's dealing with him because he's under contract and he has to, but he's completely done with Kyrie Irving.
I think that's fair, right? Because after Kyrie Irving's contract ends with the Brooklyn Nets, can you see anyone else picking up Kyrie Irving after all the distractions that he's been for the Brooklyn Nets in like the 3 or 4 years that he's been with them? And Nick Wright from First Things First said something that was very profound, that was very interesting to me. He said that for 5 years, half a decade, Kyrie Irving has proven to be the Achilles heel of perfect basketball situations. This is what he had to say.
We now have more than a half decade of evidence that Kyrie Irving either is in or goes to great basketball situations and lights them ablaze. We can go year by year by year. From the moment he walked off the court in the 2017 NBA Finals after they lost to the Golden State Warriors with Durant, here's what Kyrie has gone into the season with, here's how it's ended. 2018, the Cavs are the preseason favorites to win the East. Second best title odds overall. Kyrie then demands a trade. He then misses the postseason with an injury, and his team, the Celtics, reach the conference finals without him. The very next season, he is with Boston, and what happens? The very next season, the Celtics are the favorites to win the East. They have the second best title odds. Kyrie Irving makes odd comments about the young guys throughout the year after saying he wants to be there forever, and then as they lose 4 straight games, he melts down. He has 19 points per game while demanding to guard Giannis, shooting 30% from the field. The very next year, he goes to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, they were projected to be a top 4 seed, not champion, because KD was out. Their record actually gets worse. They finished below 500, and Kyrie skips the bubble entirely. The very next year, now KD is back, and the Nets are co-favorites to win the East, the second best title odds overall. Kyrie takes multiple leaves of absences, which in some people's mind is one of the reasons the Nets mortgage their whole future for James Harden, because they can't rely on Kyrie Irving to be there. And then in the second round of the playoffs, his body breaks down, he turns his ankle, he's not there. The very next season, the Nets are the overwhelming favorites to win the title. And Kyrie Irving submarines the entire thing by refusing to get vaccinated, being a part-time player, and then plays poorly in round 1 and they are swept. This year, the Brooklyn Nets have top 4 title odds. And 2 weeks into the season, he has created a firestorm via social media usage and the embarrassing press conference. His head coach is fired. The Nets are 2-6. And he's coming off a 4-point game. That is 6 years in a row of Kyrie Irving being in one of the best basketball situations imaginable. 5 of the last 6. Take out the Durant injury year, but he could have just stayed in Boston. Nearly every single one of those years, it all goes terribly, and he is patient zero of it. Like, you are a smart guy. You also have a very empathetic heart, so I understand why you are hoping for the best outcome. But from a logical perspective, why on earth would you expect Kyrie Irving to act any differently than he has acted over the entirety of his NBA adult life?
Yeah, so there you go. He's talked about how Kyrie Irving just screwed up the perfect basketball situations over nothing. But yeah, guys, those are just my thoughts on a Kyrie Irving situation. If you like this kind of content, then this is a channel for you. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and until next time, kids.